When the Lady Malys model got revealed to the internet, it was a good day. It was also a day where a lot of people noticed she had a similarity to a pretty popular game character, which I had a totally normal, completely understandable, not at all exaggerated reaction to. Hello everyone, my name is Adri Stea, and today I'm going to be turning this Lady Malys model into my favorite character, Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3. I start by assembling her mostly as normal, and then I pull out my secret weapon, the Farseer kit, and the only reason it's the secret weapon is that I need its spear. If you've played enough Baldur's Gate 3 to get to Act 2, you will know that Shadowheart is given a hard choice, and in that choice, she either becomes a Dark Justiciar or not. And we are going to be making her Dark Justiciar for this bash, which is why I am giving her the Spear of Night. To attach the arm holding the spear, I drill in a little hole and pin it. I am not making Shadowheart one for one. That would require a lot of work, and I am not much of a sculptor. Instead, I'm saying, what if Shadowheart was in the 40k universe as a follower of Shar, whatever that equivalent is in the Drukhari pantheon. Then do the same thing again with her left arm. I'm pretty sure this is from a Lumineth Realm Lords kit, but I don't actually know. It was just in my elf bulk. I then mounted her on her base, so I could kind of figure out the pose and how she's standing, as well as just give her more stability when I'm working on her, and decided that for her alien artifact, she would be holding a Necron Resurrection Orb, which I made out of some extra Necron joints I had lying around. I also wanted to say, sorry if my voice sounds a little weird or on and off. I've been pretty kind of under the weather for the past few weeks. And that's also kind of why this video has been so delayed. And then we have the long process of me doing a lot of things I should have done before gluing her together. This involves removing a lot of the spikes, removing one of her braids, removing some of the dangly symbols, removing some of the other stuff that doesn't quite match the flow anymore. I'm speeding it all up a tremendous amount, because all you need to know is that I am taking away stuff I should have never put on in the first place. And while you're watching me do that, if you've been enjoying my content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out. And here she is with all of the extra bits removed. I think these changes, even though I should have made them before gluing her together, really changed her from Malys with a spear into Shadowheart. Now it's getting some color on her. I gave her a black prime, and then I started with her skin, first with a deep red before going up to help add some vibrancy and life to the undercoats. Then for all of her cloth, the Dark Justiciar armor has kind of a purpley bluish cloth. I started with the blue, ended up being too blue, so I switched it to more of a purple later on, which you will see, but right now I'm first base coating her big cloak with a kind of dull blue. Off camera, I base coated all of the silver, which is most of her armor for the full Dark Justiciar outfit. And then this is where I start covering up that blue with the purple to try and match the in-game model a little bit more. Here's how she's looking so far, and I go out of my way to try and make sure she has her scar that goes over her cheek and a little bit of her nose in the game, on the right side of her face, her right, our left. So it's a little out of focus when I try to paint it, but I think it's okay. I go on and off with it. This is not the final attempt at it. I then base coat the shaft of the Spear of the Night with a dark brown, and I add some highlights to her hair and the other blacks on her design to make them not just look like primer, but rather look like they're actual objects with light hitting them. And then another very important part of the Dark Justiciar armor is all of the gold accents. Now, of course, this armor does not have the exact same sculpted accents as it does as the game armor does. So I tried to figure out where would be best to kind of put them. I put them kind of the edges, pretty much any inlay. I was like, this also gets gold, but I tried to keep them in the same places where they are in the game, even if they're a slightly different shape, including like on the knees and boots, painting where the rims would be, despite the fact that there isn't actually any sculpted like detail there. Next is making that Necron orb glow, because we need that little focal point. She is pushing towards it. Everything kind of on her model is flowing towards this orb, so we gotta make it a bright center of attention. And to do that, I fill in all the gaps with a bright white ink, and then once it dries, cover that with a fluorescent green. And with that, everything is done, and we're on to the reveal.
I may be a hater and a gatekeeper, but I'm also God's favorite princess and the most interesting girl in the world.
I've never claimed to be the best painter in the world, so I definitely think there's little things I could do to improve here, especially with the chunkiness of the paint on her face, but I am still really proud with how this bash came out, and every time I post her on Instagram, people in my DMs going, "Is that Shadowheart?" That felt good. Thank you everyone so much again for watching. As a reminder, I've been Adri Stea, and I have a lot of exciting things coming up, so I hope to see you again.